Protest. I'm going to show you what's going on here. The hands-off protests. Everybody's out here protesting Elon Musk and Trump taking away the whole country, everything they've built up for the last generations. Saying I have it rotated wrong here. This way. Alright, so it's only letting me do it in portrait mode here. I don't know why. That's okay. There's a lot of people out here. I'm gonna read some signs. If you can't read them, we just gotta see here. No techno-fascist CEO, Elon must go. Resist tyranny. This is a moral moment. Love, not hate, makes America great. Whenever law ends, tyranny begins. Make America kind again. Due process is the law. Save our VA. These are just some of the signs you'll see right here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I wish they would let me go to portrait mode. I mean to landscape mode. Let's get a little... So this is going to be going on until 2 p.m. Started up at 11 a.m. How can America be great when there's so much hate and fear?
Hi, John.
We got all the patriots coming out here. It's Mr. Otto Kilcher right there. The local celebrity. Actually a national celebrity if you're into that stuff. Hey, oh, you're good. Don't worry. You don't have to do that. You're fine. You're good. I like this sign over here. End the Third Reich. That's a good one. Veterans say, hands off our democracy, our constitution, our country. Here's another good sign everyone always forgets about. Trump was friends with Jeff Epstein. I think he called him his best friend at one point. One way or the other, they were definitely homies. We got one MAGA sign in the back here. It says, morons are grifting America. If his mouth is moving, he is lying. Hands off, stop the coup, no kings. Just reading off some of these signs if you can't read them from here. No cuts to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, veterans, tax the billionaires. This lady's got a sign, I am tired but strong. So these protests are happening all over the country right now. in every capital. This is not the capital of Alaska, but I'm sure it's happening in a lot of small towns too. People honking, showing their support. Still early, all the coffee hasn't kicked in yet. Maybe it'll be a little louder here in a little bit. Only you. Yeah, we got a lot of support out here.
Not yet.
It's a pretty funny sign here. JD Vance likes Nickelback. That one made me laugh. That's a good one. Don't cut Medicare, Medicaid if you have a heart. No kings. This one. IKEA has better cabinets. That's a funny one. Constitution, not king. Oh, you're good, you're good. I don't know if I'll be here the whole time. Sasquatch under Alaska Vigil. 2000 since it started. I got more. Oh, right. Document what's going on here, Lisa. Sorry, I wish I could have this in landscape mode, but I guess when I set it up, I put it in portrait mode, which is unfortunate. So I'll just keep changing around here so you can see what we're looking at. Do the panorama. We're right here downtown Main Street on Pioneer Avenue. Here at the Hands Off rally, telling Elon Musk and Donald Trump to stop fucking our shit up. Oh, someone just went by and rolled coal. Did you see that? That's what we get for trying to help veterans and kids get education and people not die from crippling medical debt. We get rolled coal. So hilarious. It's okay. No big deal. Definitely picking up out here. There's more people coming in all the time. Again, this started at 11. It's probably happening in your... Oh, there's a little doggy just crossed the street. That doggy just jaywalked. Yeah, it's getting kind of crazy out here. More and more action. Again, I'm just going to show you a little panorama here of everyone's pretty much on that side of the road. It's just kind of me over here filming on this side of the road. People crossing. See if we got any new signs to read here. Cowards in Congress. Get up, stand up for your rights. 1984 equals 2025. Support our library. Thank you, Senator Murkowski, is what that one says. Murkowski kind of does take on Trump every once in a while, but she likes it both ways also. Another sign we got here, chaos is costly. It's getting a little louder out here. People are starting to get a little revved up. We got John Lennon playing in the background. Hope I don't get copyrighted from John Lennon playing Imagine. That would be something, wouldn't it? Again, we got all types of signs out here. Probably hard to read from there, but I'm pretty sure you're starting to get the energy out here. Oh, we got a megaphone coming out now. Resist, resist. If you're not angry, you're not paying attention. Hands off our bodies. Trying to take our voices. Probably can't hear her. Probably happening in your city right now, so if you get the gumption, go out there and let your voice be heard. Oh, we got some opposition over here. We got the Trumpers waving the Trump flag, counter protest over here, Trump 2024. Everything's all good, all peaceful. They can say what they want to say too. Again, so just for, we got one car in support of Trump, and then all these folks saying, hands off. I think you know where Homer stands. Thank you to all who are joining here. Mama Jamma, nice to see you. You can't hear the music? Yeah, well, it's just in the background there. It's not really live music or anything. Kind of show you guys what you're looking at here. Downtown Pioneer Avenue, Homer, Alaska. I've been reading off some of these signs. If you still support Trump, you're on the wrong side of history. Right now we're hearing a, don't it always seem to go, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Strength together. Hex the 1%. Tariffs equal taxes equal recession. People got some good signs out here. Oh, we got another counter protest sign here. Go Doge, clean up the corruption. So we do have, that's another person supporting Doge over there. We got a We Stand with Ukraine sign over here. Ukraine's been totally thrown under the bus by the Trump administration. He just did global tariffs, but you know who didn't get tariffed? Russia. It's getting loud. It's getting. Oh, we got another person come out here. These guys are waving a Trump flag. It's cool. We're getting everybody revved up. Oh, we got another rolling coal here. Things are happening. It's popping off a little bit. I'm here to document it all for you. This will be going until 2 o'clock. I'll try to hold out as long as I can, see what happens. It is definitely getting a little louder, more spirited here. And the counter vibe does seem to be increasing a tiny bit, which is making this protest seem a little stronger also. So I say bring it on. Everyone's allowed to have their voice be heard. If they want to roll coal in their face, that's the best they can do, some cowardly move like that, then let them do it. We love Canada, we love France. It's not my favorite chant, but it's a start. Unite! Again, these are some of the signs I'm just reading off here. There's some funny trucks rolling around. You can hear in the distance them revving their engines in disgust for our wanting due process and equal rights and all those silly things. You're right, Mama Jamma. Doge is the corruption. Can you imagine if Barack Obama had brought in like George Soros to a unelected position and they just started hacking away at the government with or sawing away at the government with the chainsaw? I would imagine people would be protesting just like this because it's just stupid. There's no logic behind it. You have an old, demented old man just doing whatever he pops into his mind or is said into his ear. There's no plan. There's only aspects of a plan. There's nothing. So here we are. We're going to protest this. If you're here watching and you want to say hands off, then throw a like up on this. Hit that thumbs up. Maybe subscribe. I'm not here trying to document this so all of you are abreast of what's going on. People say, remember all the empty arenas where Trump said everything was full, his inauguration where it was pretty empty and he lied, he said it was full. It's good to have actual evidence. This is how Homer feels about you messing with everything, destroying all our institutions. And we agree that things could be fixed, but you don't take a chainsaw to everything when you don't even know what you're doing. Elon Musk has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. That was the last little weak chant. They're trying. America embraces diversity. You know, everybody who says immigrants, everybody is an immigrant here unless you're native. You know, here in Alaska, we have a lot of native folks, and there's plenty in this crowd right here. We're all immigrants. To think otherwise is just complete stupidity, hypocrisy, and lacks all type of sympathy and empathy. Getting a lot of honking out here, a lot of support for what's going on.
We're going that way. I'm not going over there.
A lot of support here. Got a sign with the MAGA and a chart. Down, down, down. You know, only like half the people vote. And the people that vote, it's like half and half. And of the Republicans, only like 20-30% were really MAGA. Everybody else just kind of went along with it. If you're one of those people that just kind of went along with it, even though you knew it was wrong, this is your perfect time to jump off.
So please make sure that you're not obstructing the sidewalk as we protest today.
Keep women's sports female. There's another sign. Now that's one of those issues that really is a hot button one that moves the needle. I think most people don't want men competing in women's sport.
Hello, everybody, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Wonderful to see you all here. Our speakers will begin in 5 minutes. If you want to start to move uphill, they will be speaking on that side, the uphill side of the gazebo. So you can start moving in that direction for our speakers.
All right, everybody, have some speakers come up. Where are you guys watching from? Hands off our Constitution. Say no to the Putin-Trump romance. Isn't that weird? There's got to be a P-tape. There's got to be a P-tape. Excuse me. I'm probably gonna walk up here to the speakers and we'll see what they have to say. I'm gonna wait till they get started actually. I can sneak in behind. Hands off our public lands. Let's see what else we got. Trump, Exxon suck. Ban the fascists. Ban the fascists. Save the books. If you need a doctor, you don't want a butcher. Again, just reading off some of these signs you may not be able to read. Love thy neighbor.
There's Sarah. Hi.
Trump betrayed all of us. Fight the power. Where's all the punk rock libertarians out there that used to like be so constitutionally? They used to have a constitution in their back pocket, and they would like decry anybody who treaded on them. Don't tread on me. Where are they at? They just lick Trump's boots now. It's pathetic. People are starting to gather up the hill by the gazebo up there, around the gazebo for the speakers. We're going to go up there in just a little bit once they start up. You're good, you're good. You don't have to do it. Okay. No war but the class war. Hands off our Constitution. Actually, it says hand off our Constitution. It's like a Luke Skywalker type comment. Or maybe it's like hand it back to us.
This is Alden. Thank you. Welcome everyone.
It's like the speakers are starting.
A few announcements to begin with. Thank you for your positive, gentle, nonviolent attitude. Appreciate that very much, and we're going to continue to uphold that through the rest of this rally, because that's what makes a difference. We want to thank the Homer Women of Action and G. Newby for doing our printing. the Homer Action Group. And in addition to that, I want to let you know that after the speakers, there will be an open mic. And for the open mic, you may come up here to the back part of this stage and put your name on the clipboard.
Can you hear the speaker? I might just stay here. You guys let me know if you can hear the speaker.
After the speakers, there will be music and dancing and celebrating what we're doing here today. Let me hear it! Oh, I like that. We counted. There are at least 400 of you here, if not more. That's 10% of our population. Just the inside citizens. All right. So, we have 4 speakers. Reverend Lisa Talbot, Jeff Meyers. So, Jeff, come on up here because you're going to be after Lisa. Claudia Haynes and Mike Malloy. Reverend Lisa Talbot, Homer United Methodist Church. Please come forward.
Hey friends, tell me, have you ever searched high and low for your keys? Yeah? Does that mean that you only looked in the attic and the basement? No, you looked everywhere in between. Here in Homer, we have a lot of folks who travel far and wide. Does that mean they don't go for a walk in their own neighborhood? No. Traveling far and wide means they go near and far and everywhere in between. You might hope today that I keep my remarks short and sweet, but you give a preacher a microphone and you are going to get a sermon. These binomial pairs, far and wide, high and low, short and sweet, mean more than the definition of those words alone. In Hebrew poetry, there's a figure of speech called merisms. A merism is a pair of words that are opposites, but they encompass everything in between. They show completeness, balance, totality. God says, I am the Alpha and the Omega. That doesn't mean that God is just A and Z. God's the whole alphabet in between. We see merisms in that beautiful creation poetry of Genesis, where God creates the heavens and the earth and everything in between. God places the land and the
Sorry
water
guys, your
and
MAGA
everything
church
between,
doesn't
and
own
the
scripture.
plants and the animals and everything in
Methodists
between.
still exist
God
that reach out their hands to
creates
those that are unlike
male and female and
the ideal in your mind.
in between. The language shows the completeness, the totality, the divine spectrum of human creation. Yet today we are seeing that sacred diversity of creation under attack. The current administration wants to erase and deny the truth of our identity, to impose false binaries. There's a beautiful spectrum of policies that discriminate against trans and queer folks, that deny access to health care, that suppress identities, are not just political decisions, they are theological problems. They deny the expansive and creative work of God. We have seen efforts to strip trans people of their rights, such as banning gender-affirming care for youth and restricting access to medical services for adults. We've witnessed attempts to exclude trans athletes from sports, not out of fairness, but out of fear. We have seen attempts to roll back protections in schools, silencing of LGBT plus students and erasing their identities from the curriculum. And let us not forget the renewed push.
All right, I'm going to walk around a little bit.
Discrimination in the guise of religious
Stick with me here while I
freedom,
move things
a freedom
around.
that should liberate and not oppress. These actions are not just policy decisions, they are direct assaults on the dignity and sacred worth of all people. As Christians, I believe that we are all made in the image of God. In Latin, that's called the Imago Dei. Are there any Latin nerds out there who knows how Dei is spelled? D-E-I. What divine irony. We cannot have the image of God without diversity, equity, and inclusion. It takes all of us, the divine spectrum of humanity, to create the beautiful mosaic of us all. For too long, it's been under debate about whose lives matter. I think we are called to go beyond mattering and declare that all lives are sacred. Do Black lives matter? Yes, of course they do. And Black lives are sacred. Lesbian lives are sacred. Gay lives are sacred. Bi lives are sacred. Trans lives are sacred. Queer lives are sacred. Intersex lives are sacred. Ace lives are sacred. Two-spirit lives are sacred. Sacred, holy, and made in the image of God. To deny the right of any person is to deny that image. To exclude, to erase, to marginalize is to reject the expansive love of the Creator. But here is some good news. No human law, no executive order, no oppressive theology can erase what God has called good. Jesus once said, "What you do to the least of these, you do to me." Right now, our trans and queer siblings are once again
Just
being
walk around
lessened,
and check out the
being
speaker,
pushed to the margins,
local
diminished,
pastor at the Methodist Church.
disrespected, and outright attacked. This is our time to speak up, all of us, to show our love for neighbor in visible, tangible ways. Because we are not just called to tolerate each other. We're not just called to acknowledge each other. We are called to love one another. And friends, love is always greater than fear. Love is stronger than hate. Love is more powerful than any law, any policy, any administration that seeks to diminish our beloved siblings. So let us rise in love. Let us fight with love. Let us stand
with me while I stick this back up.
together in love. Because we are one human family. And love is what binds us together. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa Talbot. This clipboard is up here at the back side of this gazebo. For those of you who would like your 3 minutes on this microphone, come on up and sign in. Our next speaker is Jeff Meyers. He is a history professor at Petchonak Bay College. Please welcome Jeff Meyers.
Hey, Otto. How you doing? Good. You want to say hey to the camera, Otto?
Hey,
We got Otto here. Oh, yeah. With this American
one of
flag.
the last things my daddy told me?
What was that?
Son, don't let the bastards take control.
That's right.
Very, very
Congress shall
true.
make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise.
We can get through this then, right, Otto?
Right on.
Freedom of speech.
Right on.
Of the press, or the right of the
Wise words there, my friend.
assemble and to petition the government for religious ordinances. I just gave my sons Hugo and Lev, who were standing with their wonderful teacher, Mr. Amigo, whom they love, a crash course on democracy from the college to here. This is for them. Thanks for the opportunity. If they remember anything about today, I want it to be that their father and their community came together to form a more perfect union for them. They'll probably remember me saying this. I used to kind of chuckle about, when you go to grad school and you learn history and you chuckle about all the people who say, if you don't learn history, it will repeat, and if you don't learn your history, you can't understand the world you live in. I just thought history was fun. And then I went to school, and then I had children, and I became part of a community. And look at all of you out here in the voluntary associations that you join, the club, the church, the mosque, the synagogue, council of votes, the voters, the softball clubs. All of those things are sacred to us, right? Authoritarian regimes don't like voluntary associations. They don't like when people petition their government. They don't like when people are saying peaceably, and they don't like when people I'm going to go quick. With that introduction, it's important to understand real quickly because I'm a history teacher, and I know Professor Hopkins is here, and I know we have some other history students here. Just a real quick background of what the First Amendment is and what it was. At the Constitutional Convention, which wasn't a good environment, even after the war, there were a lot of people who didn't want the Constitution. At the Constitutional Convention, Anti-Federalists and Federalists started arguing about whether there needed to be a Constitution and whether there needed to be a Bill of Rights. Does anybody know who the writer of the Bill of Rights is?
Closer.
Guy, kind of the brainchild in a lot of ways, but never gets the credit. It was James Madison. Everyone wanted James Madison to write it, and what did James Madison say? I don't really want. That's okay. That's okay. Jefferson was in Paris writing him, you know, Thomas Jefferson, that guy. He was in there writing, nice Nancy. He was in there writing to his buddy saying, and I have some quotes for you, sorry. A Bill of Rights is what the people are entitled to against every government on the earth. Against every government. George Mason argued that there needs to be a Bill of Rights so that the list of rights that a government cannot violate. Even then, James Madison was like, I don't think we need one. Alexander Hamilton said, no, the Constitution is a Bill of Rights. You don't need to put it down. And James Madison, over the course of the Constitutional Convention, because his buddies like Jefferson were telling him, and the southern states who were anti-federalists said, I want a Bill of Rights. Why? Because I don't want a strong executive, because what will a strong executive do? Tell us we can't own people anymore. And eventually it occurred, right? James Madison thought about it and he said, fine, I'll write them. And he went home and he wrote 12, 2 of them are gone. We don't need to worry about that. But the first one is the first one for a reason. And he got back to it and he said, your freedom of speech and your freedom to assemble is inviolable. It is inviolable. But most importantly, what is absolute about the First Amendment is your right to criticize your government. That is absolute. And it doesn't even have to be nice. It's absolute. In fact, it can be quite mean if you want to. You don't have to. But you can. That is absolute and it is inviolable. Now, when James Madison wrote them, he said, here you go. That's fine. Alexander Hamilton said, yeah, that's fine too, but, you know, these can go away if they want. And James Madison actually said, and these are parchment barriers. Because he said, this is literally just a piece of paper. And what can you do with a piece of paper if you want to? You can burn it. And he said, anybody can come in here and literally burn this if they want to. And everyone said, we don't care, we're doing it anyways. And that's how your Bill of Rights was created. Now, we could ask 10 people here, we could ask the 450 people here what freedom of speech is, and we'd probably get like 439 different answers, right? And some would be nuanced, some would be not. We have this discussion in the classroom all the time. What's freedom of speech? And you'd be surprised at what people say and what they don't say, right? But the fact is that you have the ability to petition your government and assemble and criticize it. Because what do authoritarians not like? What did King George III not like? When people got together in a room and he didn't know what was being discussed because he thought, what? They're probably talking about me, aren't they? Right? What did King Louis do to his people who assembled? He broke them up and he arrested them. What did Joseph Stalin do when people got together? He broke them up and arrested them. And then there's a funny Soviet joke that there was more spies at a secret meeting than there were actual people who wanted to be at the secret meeting. So like the spies were telling on each other. Anyways, bad Soviet Union joke. Most of them are bad. Take it though next semester if you're interested. I am too. Okay, so the promise of a better government. I'm almost finished. What is also key to this, and I think that we're seeing this in our society, is that we as a community hold our government responsible to follow the Bill of Rights, and we see in our communities and our leaders and our officials and our companies especially. Companies are important. They have to push back, because in the 1930s, companies didn't push back against fascism in Europe. In fact, what did companies think in the 1930s? Oh, I'm smarter than these guys. I'll just make my money, and money means power, and then I'll kind of laugh at these jokers, and then I'll take control. We know how that worked out. Okay, so how has the First Amendment been attacked recently? Shortly after coming to, I have a list, so I have to read them, but I won't read them all because we'd be here all day. Shortly after coming to office, President Trump began circulating a list of hundreds of words that government staff and agencies cannot use in their reports. You can look this up. It's just, there's so many words. They must have spent the last 40 years coming up with these. I just started with the A's: accessible, activism, advocacy, affirming care. So what does this do? The Brookings Institute notes that in complying with this, federal agencies have purged countless data sets of government information on crime, gender, climate, education, global development. That's money that you spend to have that knowledge, and it's taken away from you because you can't use certain words. He has signed executive orders freezing funds to USAID, Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, and the Voice of America, but perhaps most widely known is that of the arrest and brief disappearance of Mahmoud Khalil. Does anyone know who Mahmoud Khalil is? You can probably listen to what Mahmoud Khalil says and see like, I don't know if I get on board with that. And that's okay. Or maybe you listen to it and you say, listen to him and you say, yeah, I can get on board with that. That doesn't matter. It does not matter. He is a green card holder with an American wife who is 8 months pregnant. She is a citizen. She has him videoed being detained by plainclothesmen who don't identify themselves, and then they sent him to Louisiana without any due process. Now, if he is a part of a terrorist organization and gives funds to the terrorist organizations, then what can the United States government do? They can give him due process, and if he's found guilty, they take his green card away from him and they send him back to, he's a citizen of like 3 or 4 countries. But what did the United States government do? They stole him from his home in front of his wife and didn't identify who they were and put him on a plane from New Jersey to Louisiana, and they have still not specifically said what he did was wrong. That's wrong. That's illegal. And this is a test run. This is a test run, right? Because what are they doing? They're going after someone that's hard to defend, right? What Democratic congressperson wants to defend Mahmoud Khalil? Seriously. It'd be hard to, politically. It's a test run. Sending people to Venezuela to some dystopic RoboCop gulag run by some authoritarian, it's a test run, because what do you have to do if you want to defend those people? You have to prove that they're not gang members. How do you prove that people aren't gang members? Due process, thank you, right? And they don't want that. So those are just some of the examples that your free speech is being attacked, your right to assemble and your right to petition. They're going after CBS, they're going after NBC, they're going after law firms. I know Washington, D.C. law firms aren't like something that you want to defend. Oh, there's my boys right there. There they are. Hey boys, I'm gonna take a picture of you. Sorry, and then I'll end. And so with that, I just want you all to know, that's Levin Hugo. Fund the Department of Education, right? With that, I just want you all to know that that is why your First Amendment came to count, and the problem is when people comply. If anybody know who Timothy Snyder is, he calls this obeying in advance, because most of the tools and the power that are given to authoritarians and the history, time immemorial, has been given freely. And we're watching that happen now. Our Senate is clipping themselves. Our House of Representatives is not pushing back. Our companies are not pushing back. So it really, really is up to the people. And what can you do? What can you do? You can vote. You can look at your kids. You can volunteer. You can, most importantly of all, if you have the opportunity, run for something. Run for the school board. Run for state house. It starts in the state houses. And please do something. And you're all here for this community, for this town, for this borough, for the state. And I appreciate you all, and thank you so much for letting me talk to you.
Many thanks to Jeff Meyer.
Oh, you liked it.
Just a little note that there are lots and lots of pieces of information, resources on the tables over here. That same information is on a poster hung on the back side of this gazebo. You can find it there. You can find it over there. Next up is Claudia Haynes, the CEO of Ketchimak Bay Family Planning Clinic. Please welcome Claudia. Hi, everyone. Hi, Beth.
Okay. So, just forgive me a minute. I just spent the week in DC surrounded by family planning clinic folks from all over the country, and it was a tough week. But thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up, right? Not just for this rally, but for our community, for your neighbors, your families, your kids, and of course the generations that will come next. So I'm here with you for what I believe is something simple but extremely powerful. That healthcare is a right and not a privilege. It's not the first time I've said this. In fact, on this gazebo, it's not the first time anyone said this in front of a microphone. But it's really important to ground ourselves in that as we hear about all of the issues that are happening. And when we talk about healthcare, right now I want to talk to you about reproductive healthcare. And we're not just talking about birth control and STI testing. We're actually talking about freedom. The freedom to decide if and when you have children. The freedom to protect your body. The freedom to access life-saving cancer screenings. The freedom to get accurate information without judgment or shame. And that freedom is directly tied to the health of our entire community. Because we know a few things. We know that when people plan their families, they stay in school, they stay employed, and they raise healthy kids. When teens have access to medically accurate, inclusive sex education, they make informed decisions, build safer relationships, and are more likely to protect themselves and others. And we'll go one step further, because when caregivers, educators, and providers are supported, the whole system gets stronger. And that's what community wellness looks like. It's not just about individual appointments or test results. It's about building a culture of care. A community where everyone, every single one of us, has the tools they need to achieve their health goals. And where no one is left out because of who they are, where they live, who they love, and what they can afford. So as many of you know, Ketchimak Bay Family Planning Clinic has been doing this for more than 40 years as a standalone agency and now one of just 3 dedicated reproductive health clinics in the entire state. There were 5, and then there were 4, and now there are 3. So we've been a lifeline in this community, ensuring people of all ages, incomes, identities, and backgrounds have access to reproductive and sexual health care. We provide compassionate, confidential, expert care, whether someone's coming in for birth control, STI testing, pregnancy options counseling, a pap smear, or just a safe place to ask hard questions. Most importantly, we do that with equity at the center, because we know that access is not equal. So since 2001, again, many of you may know this, we talk about this a lot, that KBFPC has been part of this national network of Title X providers. Title X has been in the news lately. So it's the only federal program, and I will argue the most restrictive program, regulated program out there, specifically dedicated to family planning and reproductive health care. It was created so that no one would be turned away just because they couldn't afford care. Healthcare is expensive, if you didn't know. So this program supports the people in our community who often are most underserved. So young people, those of us living rurally, folks without insurance, and people in crisis. It's one of the reasons we can offer a sliding fee scale, inclusive care, support for teens, and access to education and outreach. You've probably seen our outreach team at events from Salmon Fest to Concert on the Lawn and in between. So I'm talking about Title X because it exists because as a country, believe it or not, we once agreed on something very important, that reproductive health care is basic health care and everyone deserves it. So here I'm getting to another important part, because that access is, of course, under threat. So while I was in DC, surrounded by clinic managers, providers, people who care for all of us, Title X agencies across the country learned that their funding was being halted by the Health and Human Services so that they could comply with a list of new administrative demands tied to recent executive orders. Not all clinics got this notice, but the rest of the clinics, those not yet facing this ultimatum, were hit with across-the-board funding cuts. So what does that mean? It means that clinics like KBFPC, already working hard to meet rising community needs with limited resources, are now being told to do more with less, or face the possibility of losing their funding entirely. A or B. And so that's not just a policy change, that's a public health emergency. So Title X clinics are on the front lines of reproductive health care in this country. We're trusted providers, educators, advocates, and safe spaces. So you might come to KBFPC for a birth control refill, right? And while you're there, oh my gosh, you got screened for high blood pressure that you didn't even know you had, right? You might come in for an STI testing and get connected to counseling for anxiety or depression. We're a gateway for at least 66% of our clients to other healthcare, right? That's not not talked about, right? And here's another one. You might be a parent who comes to a workshop, right? One of our Birds, Bees, and Beyond, and then you find out, oh, I have the resources to talk to my child about what consent means, about what peer pressure means. So without KBFPC, people in our community will go without care. That's that simple. And it's not acceptable. We're not talking about faraway places or statistics. We're talking about our friends, our students, our children, and our neighbors. So we're talking about someone who just moved here, who doesn't have a doctor yet. We're talking about a 16-year-old too scared to ask for help. We're talking about the person working 2 jobs who can't afford the high cost of care. This is real, and it's happening right now. right? Clinics across the country are having to deal with millions of dollars being stripped from their bank balances, right? So what I want you to hear very clearly today is that KBFPC is not going anywhere. So we'll keep showing up, we'll keep offering care that our community needs to thrive, because when we take care of each other, we all do better, right? And so now we need you. We need you to keep showing up like this. You may think a couple of weeks from now, I was there that last Saturday and I was there the Saturday before, but we need you to come every time. We need you to bring your friends and your family. We need you to keep talking about why reproductive health care matters, along with the many other topics that are important to us. And I need you to keep calling your representatives. We met with every single representative in DC, and they need to know from what your story is. They need to hear what's important to you. And then we need you to keep funding and defending clinics like ours that provide equitable care. Keep supporting Title X. If you don't know what Title X is beyond today, ask me. Ask Beth. We'll tell you. So I'm going to close by saying we need to do this because reproductive health care is community health. And our community, as you're all thinking while you're standing here, is worth fighting for. Am I right?
Yeah.
And we're not powerless. I think a lot of us have felt powerless over the last couple of months, but we are not. We're obviously not alone. Look around you and see your neighbors that are here. And across the state, across the country, clinics, providers, educators, advocates, and patients are speaking up and standing strong. I saw that this past week on the steps of the Supreme Court, right? So we believe that every one of you, every single person deserves the right to make decisions about their own body, about their own health, and about their future, without shame, without fear, without barriers. So raise your voice, stand up for Title X, stand up for clinics, and stand up to protect each other. Healthcare is a right, and honestly, it's a cornerstone of justice, equity, and freedom. Thank you.
Many thanks to Claudia Haynes. A reminder that right after this, while you're jumping up and down and patting yourself, you can interrupt me with those kinds of movements and get yourselves warm, okay? Whatever you need. A reminder that right after our next speaker, we will begin the 3-minute open mic. You may sign up on the clipboard right behind me. I think I'm dyslexic or dyslexic, because our next speaker's last name is LeMay, not Malloy. Mike Malloy. Mike is a proud proud Alaskan, and has been for the last 30 years. He served in the U.S. Army from 1968 to 1970 with a tour in Vietnam in aviation reconnaissance. He is a lifelong member of the Veterans of the Foreign Wars, Vietnam, Veterans of America, and Veterans for Peace. Beginning in 2003 and culminating in May of 2005, he organized and hosted the Celebration of Peace and Reconciliation in Anchorage and here in Homer. This event brought Vietnamese veterans of the American War here to reconcile and celebrate peace with American veterans who traveled here from all over the United States. Mike's exposure to Agent Orange has resulted in 3 separate cancers. But he remains one of the lucky ones because he is still here. Please welcome Mike LeMay.
Thank you all for coming. I'd like to say a few words about Veterans for Peace to begin with. We work for peace and social justice in our country. We work to abolish war as an instrument of national policy. We seek justice for veterans and for victims of war. We oppose the militarization of law enforcement. We resist racism and repression here at home, and our organization holds a prominent NGO seat at the United Nations. We strive to bring an end to armed conflict, to stop this insanity called war wherever it is. We condemn Hamas and its cowardly attack on Israeli civilians on October the 7th. We are also incensed that over 50,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza by Netanyahu's military forces in an action that is starting to resemble a genocide. And it should be noted that Netanyahu has been indicted by the International Criminal Court for using starvation as a means of war. I'd like to shift your focus now on what's happening at the Department of Veterans Affairs. We have a new secretary there now. His name is Doug Collins. And last month they cut 2,400 jobs at the VA. And Secretary Collins put out at least 2 separate videos to us veterans full of happy talk about how our care and benefits were secure. Since the most recent announcement that DOJ is about to cut another 80,000 positions, our new secretary has gone silent. I guess that's because he hasn't thought about a good way to spin it. But there is no way on God's green earth that you can cut that many jobs and not impact veterans' care and benefits. In 2004, Captain Tammy Duckworth, a Black Hawk helicopter pilot for the Illinois National Guard, was horribly wounded in Iraq, losing both of her legs and partial use of her right arm. Now, as a Democratic senator from Illinois, she is a tireless advocate for veterans. Her outspokenness is something that we have come to expect, crave, and appreciate. Holding a virtual town hall for veterans, she said, and I quote, "Donald Trump is firing more veterans than any other president in recent history and jeopardizing access to the care and benefits our heroes have earned through their service." She continues by saying, "How dare a 5-time draft-dodging coward turn his back on the men and women who, unlike him, actually were brave enough to serve our nation in uniform." She says, "Let's call Trump and Musk DOJ cuts what they are. They're a middle finger to our veterans, and they're a slap in the face to the sacrifice that they have made." Trump and unelected billionaire Elon Musk may not know the first thing about sacrifice and service, but our veterans sure as hell do. Senator Duckworth also has no problem explaining what the oligarchs are up to. The, quote, out-of-touch billionaires are slashing benefits to everyone, from veterans to children covered by Medicaid to research scientists, so that Musk, Trump can dole out trillions more in tax cuts for them and for their super-rich cronies. Today, I'm here to say that American veterans fought and died to create a democratic society, and we are not going to let the oligarchs take that away from us. We have a new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who sports a tattoo. It's a Latin phrase, Deus vult, which has become a far-right code word, a hashtag, if you will, proliferated around the alt-right social media. In August 2017, this phrase appeared on a shield carried by an alt-right protester at the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, where Heather Heyer was mowed down by a car while protesting peacefully. So Trump chose Pete Hegseth because he is as racist and misogynistic as he is. Let's back up for just a moment. Trump's presidency was barely 24 hours old when he dismissed Admiral Linda Fagan, the first female commandant of the Coast Guard. I mean, she couldn't possibly be competent, seeing as how she's a woman, right? And as soon as Hegseth was installed, Admiral Leah Franchetti, the Navy's Chief of Naval Operations, a 4-star admiral and the first woman ever to ascend to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, was dismissed. This was almost immediately followed by the firing of Air Force General Charles Q. Brown as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He had the gall to support the Black Lives Matter movement following the killing of George Floyd. And so the rampage began at the Department of Defense to eliminate from historical archives all mentions of women, blacks, Hispanics, and Asians from military history. There are far too many to mention here, but just a few of the highlights. The first ever Black Medal of Honor winner, Sergeant William Carney of the 54th Massachusetts Colored Infantry in the Civil War. His name has been erased. Baseball star Jackie Robinson's name was deleted. Interesting that he was drafted in 1942 and court-martialed in 1944 for refusing to go to the back of the bus. But he was acquitted and honorably discharged. Because of tremendous blowback, because he was a baseball star, they have reinstated his name, but they dropped from 14 different pages down to 2 pages. The Navajo code talkers have been removed. Ira Hayes, the Pima Indian, who was one of the 5 Marines who raised the flag on Mount Suribachi in Iwo Jima, he has been removed. There is a group called Women Air Force Service Pilots, acronym is WASP. They were civilian women pilots, an organization whose members were federal civil service employees. Because all the men were at war, these women trained pilots. They tested the aircraft that were going to war, and then they ferried aircraft all over the United States, and they also ferried the aircraft to England and to parts of the Pacific. Women did this. In addition to building, the tanks and the ships and the armaments and the trucks that we all needed. Now those women are missing from the military archives.
Despicable.
Here closer to home, I don't know how many of you remember Hank Nakata. Some of you may remember Mike Nakata. Hank Nakata was part of the 442nd, the most decorated unit in World War II. Their regiment had at one time they were 10,000 strong, and they were comprised of Japanese American, second-born Japanese Americans. Of course, they couldn't trust them to go to the Pacific, so they sent them to Europe. Mostly, they did their biggest battles in Italy. Hank told me one time that at the end of a particular battle in Italy, I forget the name of the town. So you got to remember that a regiment had 10,000 guys they started out with. At the end of that battle, Hank said that the ambulatory, those that could walk, could fit in one single truck, 1.5 deuce. which means less than 18 men had not been killed or wounded up beyond that battle. They have been removed from the military archives. A profile of the 173rd Sky Soldiers, paratroopers of Navajo heritage, they have been deleted. The Tuskegee Airmen, the first black military pilots who served in a segregated World War II unit, were erased. And it goes on and on. You know, if Pete Hegseth found a disqualifying characteristic, such as gender or race, it had to go. American historian Heather Cox Richardson has argued that, quote, the erasure of indigenous, black, Hispanic, and female veterans from our military history is an attempt to elevate white men as the sole actors in our history. I'd like to give a shout out to transgendered and gay people here today. There are 15,000 transgendered and gay military members serving presently. They are as patriotic as cisgendered people, and to suggest otherwise is discriminatory and just plain un-American. There are 11,000 women who served in Vietnam, primarily as nurses. Our own Sarah Berg was one of these. Sarah passed away January 24th, 2024, from cancer, which may or may not have seeded itself with her exposure in country to Agent Orange. Tonight, Sarah becomes the posthumous recipient of the 2025 Woman of Wisdom Award, which is part of Havens House annual Women of Distinction Awards. Her award will note her commitment to building a more compassionate world stemming from her service as an Army nurse in Vietnam and her work defending orphaned children. Haven House is also expected to announce this evening a new sexual violence prevention campaign, which they will dedicate this year to Sarah. We are all blessed to have had Sarah's love and healing commitment to our community for many years. In closing, I am saying that Donald Trump is a domestic enemy of the United States Constitution.
Hear, hear.
He is also utterly faithless towards the right, the good, and the decent. He is an imbecile who mocks wisdom with each utterance while being cheered by a bevy of quacks, frauds, hustlers, and psychopaths for every idiocy.
Yeah.
We have gathered here today to create good trouble, the kind of necessary trouble espoused by John Lewis. Thank you for all coming out and giving me the blessing of hanging out with people who actually care about other people. And please remember that in the larger cosmic sense, we are here to walk each other home.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. And now it is time for open mic. No relation to Mike. And Randy Iverson. She's right
Yeah, I
here,
agree,
ready to
Mama
speak
Jonah.
to us. Each of you who come
Powerful
up to
words.
speak will have 30 minutes. And please welcome Randy Iverson.
Most of you probably don't know me, but many of you may know my late husband, Keith Iverson. So, there's my history. I've lived out in the bush for 35, 40 years here in Alaska, and I wrote some pretty intelligent stuff here, but I think I'm going to ditch it. Last time when I was here, after I had made my little peace speech, Otto Kilter came up and said, we must proceed peacefully. Stop the hatred. Stop dividing. Stop being us and them. Because we're all one. And one good thing to do is to get to know people who we think are not like us. Have discussions. Find some commonality between all of us. And agree to disagree. Because if it turns more into us and them and hatred and anger, it's only going to get worse. So that's what I'm pleading for today. Let's see here. All right. Gays are going nowhere. Transsexuals are going nowhere. That's right! Homosexuals are going nowhere. Normal, regular, whatever sexual people are going nowhere. We are not here because this is our country. And we need to unite. And we need to speak to our legislators to change the administration. Because the administration is not doing us any good. We're all losing money.
We're winding down here. I'm probably going to take a walk out here.
And that's about people who were born in America and have become
Final scene.
citizens and whose parents later on become American citizens. I am one of those people. I'm 72 years old. I was born in America.
Alright, we're walking back to the car now. That was the hands-off protest. Man. We had a pretty good amount of people come out. What'd you guys think? Man. Some awesome speakers there. Still got some folks hanging out. You got another hour for this protest. I'm going to go and walk back to my car, though. I've been standing up filming the entire time. I need a little bit of a drink or a snack or something, but anyways, thanks for sticking around, and we got to keep doing this, guys. We can't give up. We got to fight back. The people have the power. We can't give it up. So anyways, y'all have a great day. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Make your voice be heard. And yeah, love you. Bye.